I'm gonna, okay. I'm gonna record this so that I can put this on YouTube also. I'm originally uh, recording this on Facebook Live. So getting all the technology together. Thanks for your patience for people who are joining me here. Okay, I want to talk some more about the 31-day program that Beth, Shekinah, Terrence, and I are going to be offering during the month of July, beginning July 15th. So I guess I'll begin with something I talked about last week on Facebook. When I began to do a deeper dive into ancestral lineage healing about 5 years ago, it also helped me connect the dots around my relationship with the earth, mountains, trees, ocean, rocks, and animals. And as I mentioned last week, I grew up with parents and grandparents who had a relationship with nature, bird watching, growing plants indoors and outdoors, tending to gardens, visits to national and state parks, and the magnificence of the beauty of the land that I was born on in the United States. They were also animal lovers with dogs, cats, and even a horse who my sister loved during high school. So as Beth and I are planning on offering this 31 days of connecting to the land with writing and restorative practices, memories from the past are bubbling. Memories with the land and animals and unseen energies. I believe there is a power in writing and speaking about our experiences. There's something about acknowledging that something happened, especially when it involves the realm of the unseen, that cultivates that relationship to tune in with your intuition and even more of a connection. So just as a reminder, this program is for heart-centered people who would like to join us, and I have the registration link in a couple of different places. So the first memory I want to share with you is that in 1986, when I was 30 years old, I went to an evening meditation event at someone's home, and they had a large yard and gardens with peacocks and large crystals. And I felt really drawn to a 3-foot white crystal. I sat down next to it and gave it a hug. And I had this palpable experience of feeling a child inside the crystal. You know, looking back, it may have been a reflection of needing to nurture the child inside of me, although at the time I didn't have words or an understanding around needing to heal my inner child. I feel that whatever happened, I was connected to an unseen energy that reflected something back to me. Well, I went home and shared this experience with my husband at the time, and his reaction was to blow it off and tell me I was crazy. And when I ended our marriage a year later, he tried to use this in court as an indication of instability, mental health issues, and that I was crazy to leave our marriage. In actuality, nature was waking me up to the alcoholism and abuse in my marriage and family of origin. And it was calling me back to myself, to reconnect with myself. The experience with nature showed me that there was always a world of aliveness and support all around me. And at the same time, it reinforced a conditioning I had learned in childhood of not to speak about unseen spirits that were around us. So I continued to have Dr. Dolittle and Mary Poppins experiences with animals and the elements. I just didn't talk about them to anyone. Fast forward to 1995, after a year of being sick with an autoimmune condition, I used the MAP program that was written by Michelle Small Wright, created at Perelandra in Virginia by connecting with the world of fairies and doctors in spirit. MAP stands for Medical Assistance Program, and it's a book. The process is in a book about how to connect to physicians and devas in spirit. So they guided me to a naturopath, to use Shaklee vitamins and environmentally safe cleaning products, and to a doctor in the physical world who also treated patients with homeopathy. And then a year later, I was in remission from an autoimmune condition that is considered a chronic condition and even deadly for many people. Then in 2009, when I felt it was time to sell my house and 3.5-acre property, this was a few years after the death of my second husband, I sat in the woods every day and I asked the land if I should sell the house or stay and continue to be a steward of the land, which is what I considered. On paper, it looked like I was an owner of land, but I don't believe that you can own land. We are stewards wherever we live. I didn't hear a voice from the land. I didn't sit there and have the land speak to me in that way. What I noticed was how things in my day-to-day life were rearranging in a way that pointed me to selling and moving from Maryland to California. I sat with the land and I asked questions, and then there were signs that pointed me to the next steps in my day-to-day life. Then on the Facebook Live last week, I also shared about what happened when I arrived in California, that I talked to the mountains and walked on the land. I cried and sang in the rain and wind, and at the ocean, I was just asking for guidance. What was next? Why was I even here in California? And then for a year, I wrote at a local coffee shop every morning, and I walked in the neighborhood of gardens every afternoon. Hummingbirds would go fly next to me as I was walking down the street. Plants, flowers, and trees seemed to vibrate with answers. I wrote 70 articles on grief transformation, and I was guided to start a blog talk radio show and hosted 44 shows with 27 guests over the holidays in 2010. And it was there that I heard the words, heal my voice, and I began to work with women in healing grief, trauma, and loss through writing, speaking, and stepping into greater leadership in their lives. I don't know what will happen in your life or my life during the next 31 days of connecting to the land, or how things will continue to change over the next year. I just know that when a group of people join together with a particular focus, it exponentially increases the possibilities. It gives us all a place to be nourished and build inner strength during this time of change and transition on the earth. And there will be 2 Zoom calls that will be like circles where people can, if you want to connect in person, that's available. And then there are daily posts with a reflection and questions for writing or pondering different experiences with the land. So just take a moment to pause and check within. Do you feel called to join us? I would love it if you joined us. Already the women, and it's open to all, women, men, non-binary, however you define yourself as a person. It's open, and so far it's been women who've been joining, and I'm just so honored already by who said yes, because they are women who are not only connected to the land, but have practices. And so I know that we're going to go into a deeper field of resonance together. So if you feel called to join us, the link is in the comments and or different places where I've described this. And thank you so much for listening. Mwah.